Most bank robberies in America end with the thief getting caught, but the guy I'm about to tell you about is totally different. He spent 2 years stealing cars and robbing banks, sometimes even making his moves more intense. I dare you to figure out who he is while watching the video. He's a mysterious man who baffled the Chicago police and the FBI. When they finally caught him, he pulled some tricks to try and escape. But the craziest part is how the story ends. It completely stumped the investigators and me too. So get ready and pay close attention because this story is wild. Hey, and welcome to your YouTube channel. On March 5, 1990, in Chicago, specifically the capital of Illinois, USA, at 10 in the morning, he broke in. A guy with a fake beard and sunglasses, armed and ready to shoot anyone who disobeys him, walked into a bank, threatened everyone, stole as much money as he could, and ran off in just a few seconds. The employees called the police right away. When the cops arrived, they took statements from the staff, who described the robber as having a fake beard, sunglasses, and holding a gun. But because of the disguise, they couldn't recognize his real face at all. After questioning nearby neighbors, one of them said she spotted a bearded guy driving a four-door car and gave the police all the details. Sure enough, after searching the area, the police found it was the same car, and at the time it was parked next to one of the buildings near the bank. When the officer approached the car, nothing seemed odd except that the key slot was broken and covered with a handkerchief to hide the fact that the lock had been tampered with. After investigating, they found out the car had been stolen from a parking lot. After the theft, it was parked by the roadside, and as is standard with bank robberies, once reported, the local police handed over to the FBI. Bank robberies in the US happen a lot, but most cases get solved. However, this time, the moment the FBI saw the camera footage, they knew they were dealing with a pro who would confuse and outsmart them. The thief hadn't shown up for 2 months, but then he pulled off another robbery just like last time. He prepared himself, went into the bank, threatened the staff, grabbed as much cash as he could carry, then got into a car and sped off. One of the employees managed to catch the car's license plate number. When the FBI started investigating, they found the car parked next to a building near the bank. The car was stolen from a nearby lot, and the ignition keyhole was covered with a cloth, just like last time. In the end, after reviewing the robberies, the investigators were left with nothing. They asked the public for help and shared pictures of the thief, but since it was a fake lead, it didn't help at all. The bearded thief kept robbing banks the same way for a whole year, escaping without leaving any trace. As for the investigators, I wouldn't want to be in their shoes. It was the worst situation ever. The armed thief completely outsmarted them every time, slipping away like a ghost. Then, in February 1991, a security officer was on duty and noticed a guy driving who looked really suspicious, and it turned out to be the bank robber himself. That he circled around and followed him. But the suspect took a side street, slowed down, got out of the car, pulled out a machine gun, and started shooting at the police car. The officer backed up, but during that, a bullet went through the glass and hit his shoulder. He immediately gave instructions to the unit about the incident, and the thief ran away. A police patrol arrived at the scene, and even though the officer was injured, he gave them all the details: the car type, license plate number, and the direction the thief fled. The patrol found the car and discovered it was stolen, reported missing 5 days ago. Unfortunately, the thief escaped again. Planes were deployed to search the area, along with hundreds of officers. The security set up checkpoints and barriers. Everyone was scared to the point that all the schools and shops in the area were shut down. After questioning the injured officer, they confirmed that the criminal was the same bank robber, linking the two cases together. It was clear he planned to rob a bank, but the police officer spoiled his plan and canceled the whole thing. Sometime after this, a woman working at a store near one of the banks got into her car and saw 2 suspicious-looking guys entering the bank. Unfortunately, after the robbery, they ran away quickly, faster than the police. When the police arrived, they were worried the robbers might still be inside the bank, but make sure they escaped the place during the investigation. Bank employees told the police that most likely the thief was with a woman, not a man, and she was dressed like a man. After a while, the police found the car the thieves used in the robbery. Then, the police received several reports about stolen cars in certain areas, so they shared the car details and license plate numbers with all the inspection officers. Now forget everything we just talked about and focus on what's coming next, because the story really starts after a few weeks from the last robbery. One day, one of the officers on duty was doing a routine patrol near one of the officers happened to spot one of the stolen cars, and when they checked inside, they realized it was definitely one of the stolen vehicles because there was a tissue stuck on the lock from the inside. At that point, the officer left the area and immediately informed the FBI. Once the FBI found out, they sent agents who started watching the car for 24 hours from an empty apartment in the building. After that, they found a second stolen car from the same place where the first one was taken. They started watching that one the same way. Since the case was now in the FBI's hands, they finally had a solid lead to follow up on. They started the operation by figuring out how to track the car after taking it from where it was. They had to install a tracking device on it, which back then was tough to set up. So, they had to take the car to the FBI garage to install the device. Even though it was really risky, they went through with it. Late at night, they took the car to the garage to put the device on it. They also brought another car that looked exactly the same in model and color and put it in the car's place so no one would get suspicious. While installing the device, they did a certain trick to prevent. Remote engine start means that even if thieves try to start the car, the FBI can stop it from starting remotely. They did the same process we talked about with the cars. When they finished, they put everything back in place and kept watching the area for a week until a truck arrived. A guy got out, got into one of the parked cars, and drove off with the truck and the car. They went to a local bank, parked the first car, then went back for the second car and parked it nearby. It was clear that the second car was the backup getaway vehicle for the crime they had planned. After that, the two guys got into the truck. The ones who were with him went to a house, and then the FBI took pictures of the people going into the house. They sent the photos and the car's license plate number to the department handling the case, so they could get info and identify the bearded guy named Jeffrey Erickson. Jeffrey used to be a cop before he started doing the robberies. They found out that in 1991, he opened an office and worked there with his wife, Jill Erickson. If you remember, we mentioned back then that he stopped the robberies because the guy had saved up some money from them and wanted to do honest work. On the morning of the planned job, the truck was parked outside the house. There were two people in it. The truck reached the car next to the bank. Jeffrey got out of the truck and got into the stolen car, but as he was starting it, the FBI remotely disabled the car's engine. The FBI had set up a special team for this operation, so they got out, surrounded Jeffrey's car, and he had no choice but to surrender, completely clueless about what was going on. He had hidden a beard he used to wear, gloves, and a gun inside his car bag. Of course, these things were strong evidence against him for the bank robberies. Meanwhile, Jeffrey's assistant was still in the truck. When the team closed in to arrest him, he realized he had walked into a trap, and immediately, there were barriers everywhere trying to stop the truck, but the driver was flying and ready to crash into anything blocking his way. The security forces were threatening him with guns to make him stop, but he kept shooting at them without any fear. The chase went on for about 20 minutes until the driver ended up on a dead-end street and had to turn back. By then, the security forces were ready to shoot, and they did, firing at his head and killing him. The surprise was that this was Jeffrey Gill Erickson's wife. She literally outsmarted the police all by herself and played them. After this incident, the FBI issued a search warrant for the thieves' house, and when they entered, they were shocked by the amount of bullets in the house. They had gathered pistols and machine guns inside in a crazy way. One of the scary things that explains why the gang carried out the robbery is this video playing on the TV. It's a real movie called Bonnie and Clyde, and the story is an exact copy of the operation those crazies pulled off. Even stranger, the video was paused right at the scene where the couple gets shot. Is the story over? I think anyone paying attention knows there's still a missing chapter. Jeffrey, on July 13, 1992, was supposed to be tried that day, but for some reason the trial was postponed. The court ruled that he had to be sent to prison. At that time, Jeffrey, his deputy lawyer, and one guard were with him along with the accused. They were going to send him to prison. Jeffrey was dressed in plain clothes, so everyone got into the elevator, and they were handcuffed. While they were going down, they were supposed to be transferred to the prison truck. But Jeffrey managed to get rid of the handcuffs, grabbed the guard's gun who was waiting downstairs, and shot a high-ranking officer named Bill Freaks in the back of the head. This officer was responsible for their transfer to the prison. Then Jeffrey faced another officer named Bill, fired at him in the chest, and killed both of them. After that, no one knew what the smuggler did next. He just kept shooting. He took his own life, and that's how our story ends. See you in the next video. Peace.